name is Carl Younger, CarlYounger.
And how old are you, Carl?
I'm 60.
Okay. And what does that mean your date of birth was?
May 15, 1960.
Awesome. And where were you born?
I was born in Houston, Missouri.
Really? When did you ended up moving to Shannon County?
I've lived in Shannon County all of my life. Moved away in when did we move away? 87. We moved to Kabul. Then we moved back and built a store at Birch Tree. And we've lived here ever since. So basically, most of my life has been in Shannon County.
Okay. How long have you lived in this very house?
10 years.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry. In this house.
In this house.
2 years in this house.
Okay.
On the farm, 10 years.
Well, and can you kind of explain that to me then a little bit of how you moved here on the farm and then moved in here? Did you just build this house or?
Well, we had. I'd wanted to live here all my life. My grandmother and grandfather had lived up the hollow from where we're here right now. This is called the Kresge Farm, and my sister-in-law, that was her grandma and grandpa. And when they passed away, I began to try to acquire the piece of property, and it took me about 5 years to get that accomplished, and we have been here between 10 and 11 years, and just always wanted to live here on this piece of property. Always wanted to live here. The reason that we are here in this home is because we flooded in 97. We lived in the little house that you came by on the very far end. That's where we lived. It got 39 inches of water in it. So we decided we'd move up a little higher on the hill so that we wouldn't be flooded again.
And can you kind of tell me a little bit about your occupations?
My occupations. I have done many things. I'm kind of an entrepreneur. I have been a pastor. I've been in the lumberyard business, or run the lumberyard business most of my life. I started at Eminence, an Eminence lumber company, in 1977 on a summer work program. Stayed there 10 years, and then when we moved to Kabul, we purchased a hardware and lumber store there, and we were there almost 10 years, and then we moved back to Birch Tree and opened what was called Co-Younger's Hardware and Lumber. And we were there almost 10 years, and then when I sold, I retired and kind of got away from it. Had some health issues, which has caused me to have to do some things different in my life. But right now I do some photography at a trail ride, and do some framing, do some framework, that kind of stuff, just as a hobby type thing to have something to do. And raise some goats and 2 horses and a peacock. So that's kind of what my life consists of right now.
And can you tell me a little bit about the school board?
The school board. I enjoy being on the school board. I'm on my 3rd term. I feel like that we have made some great hurdles in some different things that we have done. It's been to me, I always say it's been a blessing to be on there, to be able to help our district, our staff, and our students. There's lots of things right now with COVID going on that were a lot of hurdles that we're having to jump to try to keep our school open to meet the CDC, or the MISHA and the health department and the CDC requirements to be able to stay open. But we've been able to do that so far. So it is something that I feel like, as being on the school board, it is something to try to help the districts. I have no agendas, so it's something just to be there to help the district and help our students.
Was there anything that inspired you though to run for the school board, or?
There was when I ran for the school board, it was just a need for someone to be there that could, if you want to say, devote a little more time to it, because most everyone else was working. And when I went on, I was at that particular time not able to work. And like I said, I didn't have any agendas, and I think that was appealing to a lot of people, that there was no agendas. I didn't want to hire or fire somebody. And so it's just something that I believe that I'm going to say the Lord put me there. I believe that He has had me there this long. to be a blessing to the community.
Tell me a little bit about the school district.
It's not a huge school district. We do have a lot of country that we cover to get our students back and forth to school, and it is a school that I believe is devoted to making sure that all of our students get a good education. Again, this year it's been different with COVID, but if we look in years past, it's been something with our in-school seated program that we have. I feel like a very good program that we offer our students. We have a great staff, and they do an awesome job in what they do. I can't brag on our staff enough. And since I have been on the board, we have been able to reinstate our ag program, which is, I think, a great blessing to our district because it's enabled a lot of students that would probably never attend any kind of college the opportunity to have hands-on learning. And so it's just been a great blessing to our district.
What is the ag program at the high school level about?
It encompasses a whole vast bucket of stuff. This year we hold this year we hold walnuts for Hammond. They have started making like gigs. There's a welding program. There's a woodworking program. It turns into it. We have a greenhouse now that we're doing that kind of stuff. We have other staff that help teach different ag parts to our program that we have. And so it's just been a great thing for our students. They've learned to drive tractors. They've learned to drive like a 4-speed truck, which most of them didn't know what a 4-speed was because they've always been used to automatic. Those are almost things of the past. But that's something they've been able to do. They are doing on our mechanic side, have started some mechanic work. Just a whole variety of stuff that the ag program does. And it has been a blessing to our community. This year they've done pumpkins and done a Halloween festival out in the open, and then they sold the pumpkins afterwards, which generated some dollars for our ag program. We would like to see it be self-sufficient, and I believe in the future it will be. It'll be something that will continue to grow.
In the last couple of years that you've had the program going, have you noticed that kids have been able to like stick around so that way they can continue working in the area, or are they taking these skills and going elsewhere with them?
I think our program is young enough that we really can't say yes that they're sticking around because this is our second year since it's been reinstated. So it's something that statistic-wise, I'm not sure if we have a number that could say yes, we have captured 50% of our students that would leave. I really don't know that for sure. I just know that we are having issues of having enough room for everyone that wants to be in the ag program. So, which to me that makes a statement to me that it is a vital program for our school. And I would want to say that yes, it has helped some of those already that would not have went to even a trade school, that it's helped them to have some hands-on experience to be able to do something here locally. And so I would personally say that. I have no numbers to prove it, but I would say that on a personal level.
What kind of things is your school board really trying to tackle?
Well, we have tackled a lot of stuff in the past that we put a list together of 10 things that needed to happen in our district. And we accomplished all 10 of those, and then the last big project that we tackled was a new FEMA building, and we have that accomplished. It's completed. Our next project that we would like to step into is a new preschool building for our preschool students because right now we have them in a double-wide trailer, and we would like to see that change into an actual classroom that would be connected to the rest of the building. And so that's a project in the near future that we're talking about grabbing a hold of and working on. There's always little things to work on. And we try to tackle those as they come to us. But this would be a pretty good project for us again, just like the FEMA building was. And it's a very nice building. It's going to help our school tremendously to have it to be able to utilize like through the winter months. And then if we have a storm, we can get in that building and be safe. So it's like I say, our next project will try to be the preschool building.
When we came down there, were those your grandkids that we saw coming up?
Here in the front yard?
Mhm.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
What's it like having this like multi-generation going on
Well, as
over
a
here?
grandparent, it's the best thing that could ever happen. I mean, I've got two here right now. I've got two that will be back on Wednesday evening. That's here, and I mean, living here with the grandkids is the most awesome thing that can happen in a person's life when you're here close. They always ask me if they're spoiled, and I say no, but I am, because I try to give them whatever they want, and it's just fun. It's being able to deer hunt with my grandson and my granddaughters to take them out and just do a tradition that has been happening for years here in Shannon County, and so that's something that we've done this week is hunted together a little bit just to get out, and I think we had more snacks than we did hunting, but that's fun too, is eating the snacks and taking a nap, and when you wake up, if a deer's there, that's great.
Tell me a little bit about your family legacy here.
My family was raised basically, if you would go from where we're sitting right now, my grandma and grandpa lived just about probably 300-400 yards south of us, which we would say it's up the creek. That's where they lived, and they would live there for quite some time, and then they moved around for a little while. And as I was telling you before we started filming, is my grandpa lived up the hollow from us at the end of the road, and that's where I spent a lot of time, was there. And we would come down to this farm when the Kreskes were still living, and would visit with them, and we'd play in the spring where the spring house is, and we'd go out to the creek and wade in the creek. And I've heard my dad talk about him and his mom picking blackberries. There used to be a blackberry patch right here just to my left, and they would pick blackberries there and would can them and make jellies and jams out of them. And so I've lived here and lived around here all of my life. Hunted and fished, and you name it, we've done it right here. We've been all over this country in my younger days.
Well, and it sounds like even your son, with the dairy shack, is going to continue on your family legacy here, right?
Yes, he lives here. My daughter lives in the middle house as you go back out, and they enjoy being here. My son-in-law he lives at Barnhart. He would rather be here as to be in the city because of the lifestyle. It's just laid back. If you need something, you learn to wait. So you don't get in a big hurry to get anything done. And so it is something that it's just, I don't know, I can't really describe how it is to be able to live this lifestyle. I enjoy it, wouldn't trade it for anything. And so it's just something, like I say, and to have the grandkids here just puts the icing on the cake.
If you had to pinpoint any favorite thing, what is it about the lifestyle that?
Well, to me, just the like I said, the laid back, don't get no great big hurry for anything. If you ask my wife, I have no time schedule. I figured she would say amen to that in there, but I have no time schedule, which is sometimes good and sometimes bad. But it is just knowing that I can get out here. I've got around 135 acres. I can just get out and take a walk. Be out there in nature. Like I say, a lot of times we'll take the grandkids with me. We'll talk, tell stories, talk about how my grandpa used to walk these hills and the things they used to do. And to me, that would be, you say, well, hunting and fishing, but I don't know, to be out here with the grandkids is my most favorite thing to do. And just like I say, to tell them stories, show them places, show them where their forefathers lived, and be able to tell them what my dad has told me and what my grandpa's told me.
Now you've seen the old Shannon County
Yes.
film, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now they made a lot of assumptions for the future in that film, and not all of them really came true.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what do you think about that?
Well, I don't remember everything about it,
Mm-hmm.
but I know there's some things in there that, like the gigging and the hunting, that kind of stuff, that hasn't changed. I know they were talking about wanting to expand upon the businesses and that type of thing. I believe some of that has come to fruition. I believe that's something that has happened. It's just not like some of your big cities where you have your big box stores and that kind of stuff. They're mom and pop, which to me there's no better stores to have than your mom and pops, because being one of those in my past, you work every day to get what you have. And I've seen a lot of young people this year start in businesses that have been around for years. Take like for my son that has the dairy shack. I mean, there's others that have bought businesses that are still his age, that are very young, that are starting, and it makes me proud to see that those things will continue forward, and they won't die. That it'll be something that will be here for hopefully 50 more years. That they can continue to make it happen, because they're not 65 years old wanting to retire and not wondering if that business will continue to go, but they're 35 and even some of them even younger that have purchased some businesses this year. That I feel like that movie probably depicted some of that stuff happening, but it just took a while for it to take place.
So, do you think then, because I mean, it's not like I haven't seen it be super. I mean, we're here in the off season,
Mm-hmm.
of course. But do you think that all these businesses are new because there was a lull in town for a little while, or do you think it's always kind of been pretty steady?
It's been pretty steady. I think this year for Shannon County, I'm going to say for Eminence, because I can live here, I can speak about Eminence. I think this year Eminence was a boom town compared to some of the years in the past. And I think part of that was due to COVID, people being locked down for a full month, that they couldn't come or go and do what they'd normally done. And when they were able to, then it's like they busted at the seams, and people came into town and spent money locally. And I know Eminence was a very busy city this year, along with the trail rides and that, but the canoe rentals and camping, people stayed closer to home, and it really, I think, made a difference for our businesses in Eminence.
Do you think that that'll continue on through next year and the years to come, especially if there are going to be new businesses coming up?
I think it will. I think that we'll continue to see that same growth. I may be more optimistic than a lot of people are, but I believe that potential is there to be just like it was this year. People standing in lines to get what they want, and so if you could have been here during the middle part of the summer with the shack, I mean, you could have actually seen, when I say people standing in line, what I'm talking about, waiting to order, and I would hear them say, we're an hour and 10 minutes out, and it didn't bother those folks. They would wait the hour and 10 minutes to get their food. And so it is something that I think we will see this next year. Do I think it will last for 10 years? I hope it will, and I hope it just continues to grow. So like I say, I'm going to be optimistic and say, yeah, I think it will.
Now,
I need 10.
oh, that's good. And I will say, so I will ask your son a lot more about the dairy shack, and so just so you
Yeah,
know, like
he's
we'll
here.
talk more about that
Okay.
probably at a different time.
Okay.
But
Well, so that's going
we
to be a
will.
great place to shoot video in the summer.
Mhm.
Right?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
talking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I say, he's here now if you want him to join in. But he is there, isn't he? Yeah. Okay.
Well, I will say, guys. I mean, do you have any other questions,
Well,
or
I have, not necessarily on the record, but a point of interest that's something I'd like to get, because anything that we can show that's kind of still happening today or changed today versus 40 years ago, the film, of course, they talked about the gig maker.
Right.
So now they're learning to make gigs in the agriculture
In the
program.
agriculture program, yes.
I would
In
love
fact, they
to
have
see that.
already sold some gigs from that.
Wow.
They started this year. They made some prototypes, and then they have now started selling those to the public.
Oh, I would love to get some video of that.
We can make that happen for you.
That would be super.
That we make that happen. Probably not on walnut hulling right now because they're done. So,
Right.
Yeah.
but you know,
Whenever that
greenhouse is back up and going, yes, we can make that happen for you to be able to see. Now they may not get a gig completely made while you're there, but they can show
whatever
you, you
process.
know, how to start it and
Mm-hmm.
start cutting it out and that kind of thing. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to work with you on that.
That'd be great.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
That would be great. Well, I do have a question, and you'll talk to Shannon on
Okay.
this
Yeah,
one.
sorry.
All right.
Okay, so 40 years. So you were about.
I was about 20 years old.
20 years old. Were you aware that the film was going on at the time?
Not at the time.
Not at the time. Were you living here at the time?
Yes, not right here, but I was living 40 years ago. I would have been living in a little house between West Eminence and Eminence that many years ago.
All right, but so you were here, but you weren't
Yes.
in that circle.
I was not in that circle. Now my wife's mom was in that last film.
Okay.
That film that was made, and
But in terms of, so in the life you've lived here in that point of time, what would you say are the biggest or most important differences in life in Shannon County, life in the Ozarks, then versus now?
well, not that I really like the computer age. I know that because we are very rural, I'm sure some people wondered, do we have those things? And yes, we do. But the difference that I see is that time is we didn't have all those things, cell phones and computers. And I remember at that time I would have had a color television, but just a few years before that, we didn't have. We had black and white with an antenna. And then when the cable TV came in, so things has progressed tremendously in that 40 years from where we was then and where we are now. Again, do I say I love computers and cell phones? Absolutely not. But right now it seems like they're a necessity. But we have grown, and I believe the area has grown with those things. And has it made our lives better? I'm not sure. It's made it easier to get a hold of my wife when I need to, or her to get a hold of me, but has it made life really better? I go back to the 20 years before that. I thought life was pretty great then with the way it was going, even a slower lifestyle than what we have now. So I do think the area has grown with everything that's happened.
Now I've got one other question for you. A few months back, while we were doing research on Shannon County, something jumped out of the demographics that I thought was pretty interesting, and since you're on the school board, you might be able to tell me what's going on. Shannon County, in comparison to your peer counties,
Mm-hmm.
Shannon County has much better educational attainment than many places in the Ozarks and in peer counties, even though Shannon County is one of the poorer counties. Any ideas of what accounts for that success?
Again, I think it goes back to staff that love their jobs and research to make sure that we are able to offer our students, if you want to say, the best education that they can get. Try not to scrimp, to, in other words, get the cheapest thing you can find to make it work, but to be willing to spend a few extra dollars to make it happen. Like with our school, I mean, we have really upgraded our computer systems, which has made it way more feasible to do some things that had never been able to be done in the past in this part of the country. And so I think it has made it better for our students, and it's made it to where that they can acquire information that was not there. And like I say, we have spared no cost to do that. We have made sure that we have got enough computer system to do that, or bandwidth to do that. And like I say, I think that with the board that I sit on, with the other folks that I am on the board with, we strive to do our best to make sure all of our staff have everything they need and all of our students have everything they need to get a good education.
What is it like getting those kids internet?